Hey guys, here's a member stream, right? So I haven't done a member stream for a while. I've been obviously working on some of the mechanical structures, mechanical lessons, and so on, right? Now, the video that I did today, kind of out in the public, was to do with a volume lesson, right? So again, I I recorded the volume lesson a long time, right? Probably one of the first videos in the interesting lesson section. And I know TradingView changed a few things around, and I kind of saw it and I thought, oh, I don't think I can access that anymore, right? So go and watch that video if you haven't seen the volume one before. Now, I'll show you a little bit in this one, right? But I won't kind of focus on the volume. I know a lot of you guys are still trading Bitcoin, right? So just kind of putting some of the pieces together that I've been doing in terms of this mechanical stuff, right? And I think the mechanical stuff for me, nothing changes in terms of, Elliott Wave and Wyckoff and so on. They're still the bigger picture. They're still, how I look at the charts, why I'm seeing the charts and so on. It's still that bias, kind of bias confirmation trigger, right? Now, the idea behind this mechanical stuff is that it's a similar thing, right? It's kind of Dow theory simplified. It's literally three time frames. Go in, do this, if that, then this, right? And that's the only thing that you kind of really need. So when we look out at Bitcoin, right, there's a couple of things. We clearly had this high, right? Now again, I don't really need to be super accurate. I'll get rid of all of the drawings, right? So it's just easier for you to see. So I've got this high, right? Now, looking back at that high, right, we can clearly see that we've been kind of trending down, right? So what we need to do is we need to look back at what caused that move down, right? So you got this one here, which obviously pushed up high, right? So there's your first level. Now, clear as day, that level has been taken, right? So I want to look back again as, what's next? We then have the next level, which clearly had a very big impact, very big drive, okay? So that level's been taken. Now, in the grand scheme of things, we can go back one more time because we know that this one hasn't been taken. Right? Oh, there we go. So for me, look, there's a couple of things. Right? I'm going to use this one as my outer level. I'm going to put that big. That one caused the first move up, retest, which was tiny, and another move up. Right? So this level was strong. This level has stayed strong, and this level has now been broken. Right? So that's less of a level, less of a concern. Right? So the big thing for me is, we've got liquidity basically all the way from that swing low, right there, all the way down and beyond. It's an awful lot to tap into. Right? So there's the first thing. The second thing is, if we've now created a new high, right, we would have expected a move down, move up, move down, and a power through. But we failed. So what we have inside is we have an external structure with an internal move. Right? There's my W. This one now becomes the next strong play, right? Because we come down and we break the structure, right? So this is how I'm marking this up in simple terms, right? Easy to follow, easy to play the rules. So my strong level is here. Right? Now, obviously, we didn't break the one before. We haven't broken this one. We then come through, we change the structure, we drop one down. Right? We come up again, we fail to make a new high. Right? So we change the structure. So basically, from there to there, we kind of down. Right? Simple as this. So now we know that we've got this down move. We then come up, down, we break the structure to the upside. This also breaks the higher structure. Right? And then we come up and we create a high. Now, because the chart is showing what it's showing, we are still technically trending down because we haven't broken the external structure. So the external structure to the downside, we know is all the way down there. the external structure to the upside, we know is up here. So at this point now, we have a new swing low. We come down and we break the structure, right? So we now have a down, an up, and a down, right? And it's just following the logic, following how simple this can be, all the way through the process, right? So we now break that structure to the downside, which means we technically downtrending. We then come up, back down again, back up again, right? We break the structure, which means we're in an uptrend. We fail to take out the high over here, right? And then we come down and clearly we create a new structure low. Okay, so again, putting these on a chart, right? Let me go back to what I've just gone through. We'll put this in to make it clean. We've basically gone down a move there. We've come up a move there. We've come down here, back up there, right? And then ultimately back down here. Okay, so at this particular point, my kind of high, my area of interest is this one. Right? My swing low in current form is this one. And neither of these levels have actually been broken yet. Okay, so with that being said, follow the same logic all the way through. We now go up, down, break a structure. We come back down, back up, breaking the structure. So there's my swing high. We then come down, back up, break a structure, right? So if I was to look at this as a move, I'm now going to use different arrows. I've got an uptrend there, and I got a downtrend in there. We then come up, break a structure, right? Which means overall I'm in an uptrend there. All right. Now, keeping the same logic, we have a high, we have a drop, we have a lower high, we have a drop, right? Which means we're technically there to there in a downtrend. We then come up, drop, high, we're in an uptrend. Okay, so putting all this together means that we can look closer. I'm still on a daily time frame at the moment, right? We have this up here, we have this down there, and then we have another one here. So someone in the visitor section, they asked me if this was an impulsive move. Well, the trouble that you have for an impulsive move is impulsive would technically need to take this level out. If you take that level out, we would be deemed as impulsive. However, we failed to take that level out at the moment. Okay, so right now, although we've got an uptrend, we can now start our count from down here. I'm going to change this to red just so it's easy to follow along in terms of where I'm at. All right, so what this means for me is we haven't broken any of this stuff up here. We're in a much larger downtrend overall, and at the moment it would suggest that we are creating an ascending move, right? Even into the liquidity pocket could still not be really impulsive, because impulsive would need to like smash through this, right? So nothing feels impulsive at the moment. Nothing feels really, bullish, exciting. Oh, we're off to 350k for Christmas. None of that kind of bullshit, right? The general idea is following the money all the way through, right? So now I've got my swing low, my swing high. Let's look at a couple of different things, right? If we were to stick a volume profile on, and before I do, I want to share with you some logic, right? So like the video I did earlier in terms of the visitor section and out just on YouTube, right? Think of the logic. As we come from there, right, we had massive amounts of sellers. We have massive amounts of sellers. And down low, we've got a massive amount of buying, right? Massive amount of buying. This one is pretty decent in terms of buying, right? But this one isn't. This one, not so bad. So if you were to generalize where the volume is currently at, right, where the kind of area of interest is at, we probably sat somewhere along this line, right? From the swing high, swing low, right? Or from the swing low to the swing high, right? It doesn't really matter in terms of where we're at, right? You can cover all of this. But in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of this that is the area, right? So we could simply be searching for liquidity to the upside, which wouldn't be a surprise, for a deeper drop. So just keep an eye on this, right? Just kind of follow the logic along. Now, if we were to put from the swing low, right, because we're technically in an uptrend, and we come up to the current situation, what we want in this as a move is where the point of control is, where the value area is. This is going to act as a magnet until we get an impulsive move. Now, we clearly have liquidity just above, which would suggest that we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to tap the liquidity and play around a bit and drop, or we're going to sweep this level sweep up above, grab liquidity very quick, and a more aggressive drop. So all I'm doing right now is I'm following the money, right? I'm following this, following the logic. We can see where all the volume's at, right? We can highlight the point of control. You probably watched this one there. The point of control is probably 59,460. The box that I've drawn, you're less than $300 in terms of this being just a visual representation, right? So at the moment, just keep following the money, keep following the money, keep following the money, right? Just to finish with, what I'm going to do is I'll drop down to say a 4-hour time frame, because I know some of you guys will be looking at this smaller time frame, right? If you don't really understand what I've just done with the volume, go back and watch the video from earlier on. I probably will end up recording a very specific video on that kind of again, but just not today. All right. 4-hour time frame. So again, following the money, following the simple logic, right, would suggest we have our low, we come up, right, we come back, we break obviously the structure from this point, we come up, we come down, right? Now, my concern here is that the down, although we haven't really broken anything, we didn't really have much of an impulsive move back to the upside, right? So let me just see if there's anything kind of highlighted on a stochastic. We've got a false bar, but as we start to kind of rally on up, look, this volume ultimately drops off, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing a sweep. That does seem more plausible in the grand scheme of things. And then I'd like to see a change of character, right? That change of character on a 4-hour is going to set the scene for the daily move overall, right? And then obviously the daily kind of into the weekly. If you zoom out and look at what we're looking and expecting on the weekly, even on the stochastic side of things, then I think we're already kind of up in that overbought situation. So I think for me, a sweep into liquidity, change of character 4-hour, daily will probably catch itself up in the next 2 or 3 days, grand scheme of things. And then I think, continuation on down at the moment. There's, less than a month now in terms of the elections. So I think it's just going to be pretty much sideways, grand scheme of things. I'm not expecting a big chop in either direction, but I think if we do grab this liquidity, I probably would see, a couple of weeks worth of down in any which kind of result based on, I think it's the 5th of obviously of November. So anyway, I'm going to leave it like that, right? Any questions, feel free, put them in the technical question section and whatever, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Enjoy the rest of the week. Cheers, guys. Speak to you soon.